Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Did you know that Islam has been quietly shaping Madagascar for over 1,000 years? But here's the real twist. It wasn't armies or conquests that brought Islam to this island. It was traders, travelers, and a blend of cultures that turned a small coastal community into a vibrant Muslim society. Let me tell you how it happened. The story of Islam in Madagascar is one of peaceful exchange, cultural integration, and resilience. It all began over 1,000 years ago when Muslim traders from the Arabian Peninsula, Persia, and East Africa first set foot on Madagascar's shores. They didn't just bring spices and silk, they brought their faith, creating lasting connections that would shape the island's history. But how did a small group of traders transform into a thriving Muslim community that now makes up 7 to 20% of Madagascar's population? Let's dive into this fascinating journey. The nearby Comoros Islands played a crucial role in this story, serving as a bridge between Madagascar and the wider Islamic world. While Islam flourished along the coast, it took much longer to reach Madagascar's interior. The spread was gradual, carried inland by missionaries, traders, and Malagasy travelers who had experienced the Islamic world firsthand. African Muslims, particularly from the Comoros Islands and the Swahili coast, continued to arrive, enriching the Islamic tradition in Madagascar. They established mosques and Islamic schools, especially in places like Mahajanga, creating centers of learning and worship that still stand today. When we look at the Muslim community in Madagascar today, we're looking at a diverse and vibrant population that makes up a significant minority of the island's people. While getting exact numbers can be challenging due to the complex nature of religious identification and the diversity of the population, we know that Muslims represent somewhere between 7% and 20% of Madagascar's total population. To put that into perspective, we're talking about roughly 1.5 to 5 million Muslims out of Madagascar's total population of around 30 million people. Within this Muslim community, we find an overwhelming majority of Sunni Muslims, making up about 95% to 98% of all Muslims on the island. This strong Sunni presence isn't surprising when we consider the historical influences. Most of the traders and missionaries who brought Islam to Madagascar came from Sunni-majority regions across the Indian Ocean, particularly East Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. The Shia Muslim community, while smaller, maintains a distinct presence, particularly in urban areas like the capital city of Antananarivo. They represent about 2% to 5% of the Muslim population, with some Shia mosques and institutions serving their community. This Shia presence can be traced back to more recent migrations from places like Iran and the work of Shia organizations in the region. What makes Madagascar's Muslim community particularly interesting is its ethnic composition. While many Muslims here are ethnically Malagasy, you'll also find Muslims of African origin, particularly from nearby regions, as well as those with Arab and Comorian ancestry. This diversity is especially visible in coastal cities like Mahajanga and Antsiranana, where you'll find the highest concentrations of Muslims, along with their mosques and Islamic schools, or madrasas. These numbers tell us an important story about Madagascar's religious landscape, one where Islam, while not the majority faith, has established deep roots and continues to thrive as an integral part of the country's religious and cultural mosaic. The daily life of Muslims in Madagascar offers a fascinating glimpse into how Islamic traditions blend with local Malagasy culture. Like Muslims worldwide, those in Madagascar structure their days around the 5 daily prayers, or Salah. In cities like Antananarivo and Mahajanga, you'll hear the call to prayer echoing from local mosques, calling the faithful to gather for Fajr at dawn, Dur at midday, Asr in the afternoon, Maghrib at sunset, and Isha at night. For those living in more rural areas where mosques might be scarce, many have created dedicated prayer spaces in their homes. The largest Muslim communities are found along the western and northern coasts, areas that historically had the most contact with Muslim traders from East Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. Mahajanga, on the west coast, stands as one of the main centers of Islamic life in Madagascar, with its numerous mosques, madrasas, and halal markets. To the north, Antsiranana is another important hub for the Muslim community, home to both local Malagasy Muslims and those with roots in neighboring African regions. The capital city, Antananarivo, while predominantly Christian, hosts a growing Muslim community, particularly among urban professionals and traders. Here, Muslims have established their own neighborhoods with mosques and Islamic schools, creating vibrant communities within the bustling capital. The nearby Comoros Islands have historically played a crucial role in Madagascar's Islamic heritage, and many Malagasy Muslims maintain strong family ties to these islands. While Madagascar is generally known for its peaceful coexistence between different faiths, the Muslim community faces various challenges as they navigate life as a religious minority in this predominantly Christian nation. Living in a country where most people identify as either Roman Catholic or Protestant, Muslims sometimes encounter subtle forms of discrimination, particularly in rural areas where traditional Christian beliefs run deep. These challenges often stem from misunderstandings about Islam, as many Malagasy people have limited exposure to Islamic practices and beliefs. Cultural integration presents its own set of challenges. Muslims in Madagascar follow Islamic dietary laws, dress codes, and religious practices that don't always align with local Christian customs. This can create social barriers, especially in areas where Christian communities predominate. Young Muslims in particular often find themselves balancing their Islamic identity with traditional Malagasy customs, which can lead to complex family dynamics and social pressures. Economic challenges weigh heavily on the Muslim community as well. Like many minority groups in Madagascar, Muslims face significant hurdles in achieving economic stability. Access to employment opportunities, affordable health care, and education can be limited, particularly in rural areas. Some Muslims report experiencing discrimination in the workplace, especially when seeking positions in the public sector or government. Many rely on small businesses in the informal sector, but limited access to capital and economic resources can make it difficult to thrive. When it comes to religious freedom and expression, while Madagascar's constitution guarantees freedom of religion, practical challenges remain. Building new mosques or practicing faith publicly can be difficult in certain areas, especially outside major Muslim population centers like Mahajanga and Antsiranana. Access to quality Islamic education is another concern, as many Muslim children lack the same educational opportunities as their non-Muslim peers. During Ramadan, Muslims may struggle to fully observe their fast in a society structured around Christian schedules and traditions. Islamic holidays like Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha are not official national holidays, requiring Muslims to take personal time off work or school to celebrate. While the legal system provides for religious freedom, Muslims sometimes face bureaucratic challenges in matters like the recognition of religious marriages or the distribution of inheritance according to Islamic law. Yet despite these challenges, the Muslim community in Madagascar demonstrates remarkable resilience. They continue to maintain their religious identity while contributing to the country's rich cultural tapestry. Through their dedication to preserving their faith traditions while embracing their Malagasy identity, they exemplify the potential for religious and cultural harmony in this diverse island nation. When we look at the state of religious tolerance in Madagascar, we find a notably different picture from many other parts of the world. Unlike Western countries where Islamophobia can be quite pronounced, Madagascar presents a more peaceful landscape of religious coexistence. The occasional tensions that do arise often stem from cultural differences rather than outright hostility. In this predominantly Christian nation, where Roman Catholics and Protestants make up the majority, some people might view Islamic practices like modest dress, halal dietary restrictions, and daily prayers as unfamiliar or different. However, these differences typically lead to mild social misunderstandings rather than serious discrimination or violence. Unlike some countries where anti-Muslim sentiment has become organized and politically active, Madagascar has no notable Islamophobic organizations or movements. The political landscape is free from parties or groups that promote anti-Islamic rhetoric or discrimination. While there might be isolated instances of Christian hardliners holding negative views due to theological differences or misinformation, these remain individual opinions rather than organized movements. Muslims in Madagascar might occasionally face subtle forms of social exclusion or encounter stereotypes in media portrayals, particularly regarding Islam and the Middle East. However, there's a strong counterforce to these challenges. Islamic organizations, including mosques and community groups, actively work to promote understanding through educational programs and interfaith dialogue. Many mosques organize events that bring Muslims and non-Muslims together, fostering cultural exchange and mutual understanding. The Muslim community's involvement in charitable work has been particularly effective in building positive relationships. During Ramadan and throughout the year, Islamic organizations provide food assistance, support health clinics, and contribute to local education, demonstrating their commitment to the broader Malagasy society. Religious leaders from both Christian and Muslim communities often engage in peaceful discussions to improve mutual understanding and highlight shared values like compassion and community service. Perhaps most notably, Madagascar has been free from major incidents of anti-Muslim violence or large-scale hostility. While isolated incidents of prejudice might occur, particularly in areas where Muslims are fewer in number or where understanding of Islam is limited, these remain exceptions rather than the rule. The Muslim community continues to be an integral part of Madagascar's rich cultural tapestry, contributing to its diversity through education, interfaith dialogue, and community engagement. And that wraps up our deep dive into the history of Islam in Madagascar, a story of peaceful integration, resilience, and cultural exchange. It's incredible to see how a faith so far from its origins can take root and thrive in such unique ways. But the story doesn't end here. If you found this exploration fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our next journey through the rich histories of the Islamic world. And I want to hear from you. Where do you think we should go next? Which country's Islamic history should we explore in our next video? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.